We know you like talking Star Wars. We like talking Star Wars. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. This is The Wars and More.
What the hell was that? So, well, we are going to talk about what that was, but I want to start first by saying this is going to be a spoiler-heavy episode because we are going to dive into everything that I saw out at Celebration and even some of the things that I didn't make it to, but we're talking spoilers for Episode 9, The Clone Wars, The Mandalorian, Jedi Fallen Order. Is spoiler heavy this week, so if you're trying to avoid those, I would suggest pausing this and coming back at a later date because we're no holds barred today. This is The Wars and More, by the way. I'm Joe, and of course with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey Doug, how you doing this week?
Doing pretty good, Joe. Probably not as worn out and beat as you are from as busy as you've been, but yeah.
I mean, so worn out and beat, yes, but man, I'm still coming down from the high.
Right on.
I mean, so I went to Orlando. Orlando was a huge show, but they went even bigger this year. This was just enormous and so much going on, so much fun. And I gotta say, one thing I talked about leading into Celebration was all the people you get to meet and interact with.
Right.
And this one was no exception. You know, standing in line and things like that is something you have to do. You know, it's unavoidable when you go to Celebration. You have to stand in line to do stuff.
Right.
But one thing that makes it so much better is just talking to the people around you. You know, even talking to people who you just pass by in the line. They're in the other side of the chute, you know.
Yep.
And just getting to hear other people's takes on stuff, and it's just great. You know, we're all there for the same thing, and we're all sharing it with each other. It's like one big family, you know, and it's great.
Awesome.
Everybody's friends at Celebration, it seems.
That's the way it should be.
You know, I didn't turn to one person, not a single person, and try talking to them and have them not continue the conversation. Not one time.
Excellent.
And that is one of the things that's unbelievable about Celebration. You know, I've been to plenty of things where I've tried to talk to the person next to me and they just don't seem interested.
Right.
You know, but that doesn't happen here. It's incredible.
One big happy Star Wars family.
It really is. And yeah, it was great. I know I'm kind of like gushing over it a little bit, but
oh, hey,
there is totally a reason to do that.
Yeah, I was going to say it's nice to hear that, you know, especially, you know, everyone has their differences every now and then, but it's nice to see that everyone can come together, get along, and have a good time. So,
you know, I was in plenty of conversations with a group of people where there were differing opinions.
Sure.
And, you know, I talked to plenty of people who are not entirely fans of the new trilogy.
Right.
But that's the case, but they're still there.
Yeah.
You know, this is all focused on the new stuff. Yeah, you get panels and stuff that look back, but Celebration is really kind of a glimpse into the future.
Right.
And even with, you know, the differences that, you know, people look at things, you know, some negative opinions, things like that.
Sure.
I shouldn't say negative because I didn't talk to anyone that was like flat out like, you know, so-and-so ruined this or
right,
you know,
right.
Disney's ruined Star Wars or anything like that. I didn't run into any of that. But I ran into plenty of people who have disagreed with some of the directions that, you know, Disney's gone.
Right.
And even with all that, they're still looking forward to where it's headed.
Yeah. Especially with, you know, how many different directions we're going to have Star Wars coming at us from moving forward. I mean, there's going to be something for everybody.
Oh, and you ain't kidding. They're talking about directions. I mean, we were talking about the chance for a episode 9 title and an episode 9 trailer and maybe a sneak peek at The Mandalorian. I mean, that was just the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
You got the first look at Jedi Fallen Order. You got another trailer for the Clone Wars. I was fortunate enough to be in the Resistance panel.
Nice.
And in the Resistance panel, we got to see episode 1 of season 2.
Nice.
And I'll tell you what, I mean, I'm not going to spoil anything because, that's kind of the deal you make when you go in there, right? Like,
yeah. You just said you're going to have lots of spoilers on the show, but okay, whatever.
But when I said lots of spoilers, notice I did not say Resistance.
That's true. Okay.
So, that's kind of the deal you make. And I would be taking that same approach with The Mandalorian.
Right.
If The Mandalorian wasn't already leaked everywhere online.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's already leaked everywhere and everybody's talking about it and everybody's seen it, we're going to go ahead and talk about it.
Absolutely.
But Resistance, that has not leaked. So
right.
My lips are sealed. I will honor the kind of agreement you have of going in there and getting treated to seeing something that is not yet ready. I mean, it's ready, it's done, but they're not ready to release it yet. So, if everybody went and just spoiled all that, you never know. Maybe you wouldn't get that in the future.
Right. Yeah. Oh, Star Wars fans must consider themselves very privileged to get the access that they get through Celebration and things of that nature, because it's unlike any other franchise. I mean, I don't see anyone else doing this for their fans the way Star Wars does.
No. This is definitely the biggest show centered around one franchise out there.
Right.
I mean, so, and the reason why I'm taking this stance on the Resistance episode is also because I think back to when I was at Star Wars Weekends. I believe it was 2014.
Uh-huh.
The second to last Star Wars Weekends that they did. I believe it was. We got a sneak peek at Rebels.
Right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And I was so amazed that all of those sneak peeks and everything and all the different footage that they showed throughout the different weekends, no one ever talked about it. I mean, I'm sure some people on like Reddit did or whatever, right?
Right. Maybe. Yeah.
But it was not in the mainstream of podcasts and the mainstream news. It was not there.
Right.
And I think that was super impressive that, one, you left that experience for the people who were there, because that was designed to be a treat for the people who were there in the room, right?
Exactly.
And, and it's not, I don't want to say it like, only those people should be treated that. No. Everybody gets treated to it eventually.
Right. I think what it shows too, though, is that, it shows that the fans actually do have a respect for the franchise, and, the Lucasfilm sees that and can appreciate it. So, therefore, the fans do get these, sneak peeks and things of that nature, and the access that they have. I think it's a very, reciprocal relationship as far as, between a company and its consumers, but it's a awesome relationship as far as I'm concerned. You know?
Yeah, and I think the relationship there of like the Rebels example and so far Resistance of no one really talking about what they saw, I think is encouraging for them to continue to do things like that in the future.
Exactly.
Because they're not going to do that, and it's immediately going to get spoiled online.
Right. Know? If that's the case, then they just won't do it. I mean,
to me, the Mandalorian thing being spoiled online is a little disappointing.
Right.
Just because that's not what they intended by showing that.
Yeah.
They showed that as a special treat for those who, made the trek.
Right.
And yeah, it's going to be out there eventually. Everybody is going to get to see this before The Mandalorian comes out.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But, they put on this gigantic show and they want to have exclusive things for this show because, let's be real, people invest a lot of time, effort, money, emotions.
Yeah, I mean, it was obvious the way they introduced it in the live stream, because the live stream cuts out for that period of time, so for the footage in the trailer, so it was funny. The live stream just goes to the title card, Star Wars Celebration title card, and countdown. And we'll be back. So it was obviously, it wasn't intended for the internet audience, but yeah,
but it's out there.
It's there. So
like I said, somewhat disappointing, but then again, at least with it being out there and everywhere, I'm not afraid to talk about it at this point.
Yeah.
So, but I think first things first, we need to talk about the big one, the episode 9 trailer that debuted on Friday. This was an interesting one for me because I didn't win the lottery for this one.
Right. Yep.
So I made the decision that, okay, I didn't win the lottery. I'm going to the show store line. I'm going to wait in the show store line, and I'm going to watch this thing on my phone. And they had screens up and everything too, but I watched the panel on my phone as I was moving through the line because the screens, they get out of your eyesight as you maneuver through the line.
Right.
So I was like, I'm not missing this. And I got to tell you that the experience was not entirely lost by me watching it this way, because to get to hear the reaction from the entire convention center.
Oh, I bet that was amazing.
I mean, just the rumble from everything was just crazy.
Oh,
so I'll tell you what we're going to do. First, we're going to go ahead and we're going to play the audio, have a listen, put us all in the mood.
Right.
And then we'll go ahead and dive into this trailer.
We've passed on all we know. 1,000 generations live in you now. But this is your fight.
right, so wow.
Yeah, wow.
You know, it's pretty cool that like after all these years we see one of these trailers and it's still like, holy crap.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The art of the trailer in Star Wars.
Right.
So one of the first things I want to talk about is because of the correlation here with the 20th anniversary of the Phantom Menace.
Okay.
Did you notice the similarity here?
Like speeding across the sand and all that?
No.
What?
So when the Phantom Menace trailer came out in 1999, it says every generation has a legend.
Ah, that part, yes.
Every saga has a beginning.
Right.
And this one says every generation has a legend.
Yep.
Every saga has an end.
Yes.
So being on the 20th anniversary, you know, in the 20th anniversary year of the Phantom Menace, that is like mind blowing. Like the second I saw that pop up, that's immediately what I thought of was that first Phantom Menace trailer.
Right.
I'm like, how cool is this? Like they don't forget stuff.
Oh God, no. I think they demonstrated that, you know, time and time again, which is awesome. So, I think this just goes, you know, JJ's talked about this for a long time now, that this is encompassing all three trilogies and wrapping up the final trilogy and all of the trilogies all at once.
Yes.
And I think that starts here and now with the trailer. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure. So as far as the locale, we're back on a desert planet.
Sure.
You know, where it all began.
Right.
You know, when episode 4 started on desert planet.
Yep.
And I gotta ask, where do you think we are?
I think we're on Tatooine.
Think we're on Tatooine.
Yeah.
Like I was wondering if maybe this is Jakku, but the more and more I watch it, you know, you see a pretty broad scale, like a broad view of the terrain in the surrounding area.
Yep.
I see no remnants of a battle.
Right.
There's no wreckage and, you know, downed starships and things like that. Doesn't feel like Jakku to me.
Right. It doesn't feel like Jakku to me either. There was something. Okay, so I'm remembering back to The Force Awakens and the trailer for that, watching BB-8 roll across the sand. And, you know, everyone's first thought back then was Tatooine before we were told it was Jakku. But there was something about it that looked different, right?
Yes.
This looks more similar to Tatooine than Jakku to me. If it's not Tatooine, then I think it's somewhere new. Maybe Jeddah, right? So...
Oh, yeah, it could be Jeddah.
But I think it's one of those two. My first guess is Tatooine, maybe Jeddah. So
my other initial thing that I notice here is Rey.
yes.
You look at her outfit here. You notice she's got a hood now?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Taking that traditional kind of Jedi garb, you know, having that hood.
Yeah. I would say this is further flung from Jedi robes than...
That's where I was headed with this. It's that with her twist.
Yes.
She's
Definitely.
still sticking with her, you know, Jakku arm wraps and, you know, the apparel she wore on Jakku.
Right.
She's still sticking with that. That's what she's comfortable with.
This is it just, her outfit more reminds me of something that's just in universe than anything, to be honest, because there's a lot of characters have hoods. Leia in episode 4, right?
I just pointed out because Rey has not yet had a hood.
True.
And that's where I draw the line, saying that this has something to do with her, status as a Jedi, if you will.
Right. Now, it is very likely that you're right. But I'm also noticing, this outfit is very similar to what she's, shall we say, used to.
Yeah.
But
she likes what she likes.
But it has a, if you notice, a tailored collar, around the neckline and things, things that refine. Can't believe I'm talking like this, right? It refines the outfit better. but it does, right? So, and it looks good. So,
yeah. Who saw us talking fashion, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Which I will add is something we know nothing about.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm a t-shirt kind of guy.
Yeah, me too.
So, but yeah, anyway, this leads into Kylo Ren's TIE silencer.
Yes.
Speeding across the desert, and Rey, jumping up into the air over it.
Okay.
What do you make of this? This is something that I've thought about a lot.
Yeah, me too.
And I'll tell you what, me seeing this hurts my I don't want to see Kylo redeem thing.
Right.
Like, greatly.
Okay, so I got a feeling that you and I are looking at this and seeing the same thing.
Because I feel like this is either a training exercise.
Yep, we're thinking the same thing.
Either that, or with this jump, she's going to land inside. Like this is a extraction move, if you will.
If it was an extraction move, she would not ignite the lightsaber.
That's true.
Now, I got to be honest.
I mean, we don't know what's on the other side either, though.
You mean if it's Kylo?
No. So I'm saying, so you got Kylo coming in from this way. We don't know that there's not something coming in from the other way.
Okay.
So just throwing that out.
So here's my big takeaway, right? If this was
and igniting the lightsaber would add some flair. I'm just
if this was a truly adversarial interaction right here,
why didn't he shoot?
Why isn't he firing? Yes, the whole way down. That doesn't make sense. So this looks like a training exercise, or I otherwise I don't know how to explain it from just what we saw. So, igniting the lightsaber, helps make me think that as well. Because if it's something like what you were just saying, an extraction, she wouldn't do that.
Right. So.
Oh yeah, the lightsaber. Oh.
Yeah.
It's been repaired.
That has been repaired.
So.
I gotta say, like, while I'm happy that Anakin's lightsaber is still going to be playing a part,
right?
I'm a little like I was really kind of hoping, like Rey's whole thing was using that staff, right?
Right.
I was really hoping that Rey was going to move towards the saber staff.
Okay, gotcha.
A la Darth Maul.
Okay.
But like, I at the same time I'm like I kind of like that she's had an attachment to that lightsaber. Like that lightsaber's meant something to her.
Yeah, that lightsaber. you know, it's anchored in all three trilogies. And so you're right. That is really cool to see. And it makes it into episode 9 for sure.
Right.
But, and I guess this is part of us getting away from older things. I would have liked to have seen her build her own. You know?
Fashion her own.
That, and maybe we will. I don't know. But,
and like I said, that's the reason why I say would have liked to have seen a saber staff, because one of the things about the Jedi fashioning their own lightsabers is that their lightsabers carried a bit of their personality and their
exactly, yes,
you know, it catered to them,
right?
You know, like in the Clone Wars when we had that youngling arc.
Yep.
You know, like for the Wookiee trainee, you
Yeah.
know, the wood hilt was
Yes.
what felt right, you know. So seeing Rey and the comfort she had with that staff and how she leaned on that staff, really, that's why I lean towards wanting to see a saber staff.
Right. If she were to have a saber and incorporate that staff, I personally would like to see it so that maybe it came apart.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And there was her saber. I don't necessarily like the idea of her having a 6-foot long staff with another blade coming out the end, you know. But
No. I really lean towards like the Darth Maul thing where you could use one side, but I really like the idea of it separating and giving her, you know, the ability to dual wield lightsabers.
right.
That was one thing that I really liked with Ahsoka's character, was her use of that dual wield.
Right.
And I thought that added a cool dynamic to the lightsaber battles.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, her and Ventress.
Yep.
You know, Ventress like to dual wield sabers.
Yep.
So, yeah, I like that idea of a saber staff that would break apart. Don't know that they're going to go there. I mean,
Right.
see this saber again in the end of the trailer on her waist.
Yeah.
So she's really attached to this saber,
Yeah.
which is fine by me. I'm not opposed to that, but I really would have liked to have seen Rey develop her own personalized fit to her saber.
Yeah. Yeah,
Now,
for sure.
more things that lead me to believe that this may be, like you said, like we said, a training exercise.
Uh-huh.
So you see Kylo in this battle,
Yes.
right? And he picks this guy up and body slams him using his lightsaber,
Right.
which was just cool. That is an awesome action, you know, little action sequence we get to sneak peek at there.
Right.
But I'm looking, like, I've tried to frame by frame the crap out of this.
Okay.
And I kind of wonder, is that one of the Knights of Ren?
There's been some speculation on that, and I gotta say, I don't know. I've looked at it trying to figure that out too, and I'm just not sure.
I'm with you there. I'm in the I don't know camp as well.
Right.
But I kind of thought about that. Like, so you remember we saw that leaked poster, and I say leaked loosely, right?
Right. Yes.
And you see a white stormtrooper in the poster, but you also see these red stormtroopers at the bottom.
Yes.
And I started to think, okay, we heard all this talk about Kylo being this benevolent ruler, right?
Yep.
And him really trying to not really try and rule with an iron fist, try and be fair, right?
Right.
And I started to think about that. Well, if this group, the Knights of Ren, is still out there and they're still, you know, kind of loyal to Snoke and his way of doing things,
Hmm.
could you end up with a split in the in the First Order itself? Could this end up being, factional?
So, could it? Yes.
And
Because
could this be what brings Kylo and Rey into a mutual goal?
possibly.
Not really being, besties.
Right. Exactly. It's the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing.
Right.
We'll team up for as long as it takes to finish these guys off. Then we're
And at the same time, I talk about that, and like I said, this is all, we're talking about the trailer, but what we like to do is speculation.
speculation. Yeah.
So we'll also talk about the elephant in the room here, because it coincides with what I'm saying here.
Okay.
That laugh at the end of the trailer.
Oh, hitting that already, huh? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm going right in, man. I'm
Okay.
just going right for it. So we hear the Emperor laugh
Yes.
while they are looking at wreckage of the Death Star.
Yes.
Now we can only assume that this is, with the Emperor's laugh and seeing the wreckage, that this is Death Star 2. We don't know this for certain.
Right. It makes the
But-
most logical sense.
That's logic says if you're gonna tease the Emperor along with wreckage of a Death Star, this is Death Star 2.
Right.
I know everybody's saying, "Oh, that doesn't look like the forest moon of Endor." I would agree with that. Now, granted, planets are big.
Yep.
We live on planet Earth. We have tons of different terrain. I don't think, and I guess a moon isn't a planet, but it's possible for that moon to also have tons of different terrain.
Correct. Now, I will say this.
Also,
Okay. Go ahead.
Also, we don't know what the surface of Endor looks like. We know what the surface of its moon does,
Right. Yeah.
but we don't know what the surface of Endor looks like, and it's very possible that wreckage of an exploding Death Star could land on Endor as opposed to the forest moon.
Right. Now,
So,
what I did want to make mention of was we saw from the surface of Endor the explosion and debris. So we did not see that on Yavin. Yavin, they had to go out to meet the Death Star, so it was further away.
yes.
So, this Death Star 2 was just outside of, the atmosphere, basically, of the forest moon. So it could be encompassed by the shield generator. So
Correct.
it makes sense that it's Death Star 2. So
Yeah.
unless there was a Death Star we didn't know about that got blown up by somebody. I don't think so. Because that would just confuse everything. So,
Yeah, that's why I said.
yeah.
So, yeah, I don't want to see another super weapon.
No.
We've done that 3 times. So, we're good.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, I think, so that shot of the Death Star wreckage is a phenomenal shot in my mind.
Oh, beautiful shot.
It's beautiful. Yes. I just wanted to say that because when I saw that, it was like, that was my wow moment until I heard Palpatine's laugh and it was like, oh man. Yeah.
Oh, holy crap.
Yeah.
So, do you think we see Palpatine alive in the flesh in this?
I'm not sure. I've heard some people say they would have a problem with that, and I got to say I really wouldn't. If done right, it could work.
Well, I'll say this: so you go back all the way to Palpatine telling Anakin the story of Darth Plagueis,
Right.
And when he says, funny, he could save others, but he couldn't save himself.
Right.
Or he could protect others, but he couldn't save himself. There was a really cocky smirk on Palpatine's face. Now, we know from what is now Legends that Palpatine was Plagueis' apprentice.
Right.
And was responsible for Plagueis' death.
Correct.
So that could be the source of the smirk.
Sure.
But it could also be the source of the smirk that maybe he figured it out.
It could be.
Just that's just me spitballing, like saying that if we see Palpatine in the flesh, there are avenues to why that could be.
Yes.
I personally think that you may see more of a path taken like in the Clone Wars. And forgive me for my the way I'm going to explain this, but when Yoda went to Moraband,
yeah, nice.
I'm still sour about that.
I got that impression. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't name it Korriban. Let's call it Moraband.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell, dude?
So anyway, yeah.
Yoda went to Moraband. When he goes to Moraband, he ends up communing with the presence of Darth Bane.
Yes.
I would expect to see something in this vein.
Yes. I think that's the most likely scenario. There is a like you said, a dark presence.
Well, so let's just say there's a ton of old EU / Legends precedent for this.
Yeah.
Because even, Exar Kun
yes,
was able to do this. Like they were never able to do the whole Force Ghost thing, like out in remote area, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But
they were tied to an artifact.
Right. So Exar Kun in his tomb.
Yes.
Bane on Moraband.
Yes.
So on, the Sith homeworld.
Right.
And so Palpatine being tied to the wreckage of the Death Star.
Where he died.
Yes. His lingering presence makes tons of sense.
Right.
And like you would definitely have a chance for interaction here. And not only that, but I believe some of them were even able to like manipulate stuff around them, right? In these areas.
Yes.
So their presence wasn't just like a vague memory. No, it was like a luminous presence, right? Like
yep. Yeah, to some degree, yes.
They had some control over what could happen in said area.
Right.
More of a living presence than like a memory,
Right. So, that being said, I don't know. I think this could also have been cleverly put together the way it was, right? You get that image of the Death Star wreckage, then you get the Palpatine laugh, right? So our brain is making that jump automatically, which was totally intended for that to happen. But what if the Death Star wreckage just holds some sort of information or something like that? Possible. I mean,
it's possible. So, I mean, it's all but been confirmed, though, that the Emperor in some way, shape, or form is going to play a role in this.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm getting at is what if it's a, far grander scale than what we're talking about? In Return of the Jedi, he was saying it. Everything is come together as I've foreseen it. So, maybe that extends far out beyond the legend of Luke Skywalker.
Oh, it could.
I mean, I don't know.
So my thing is, I have a hard time believing that a walking, living, breathing emperor is just kind of sitting back and waiting, for 30 something years or whatever.
Except if he's got the whole, eternal life thing licked, 30 years ain't a big deal, right? He can.
Agreed. But I'm not saying because of his age. I'm saying merely because of
his ambition.
Right.
Think about how patient he was.
He's
to
not.
begin with. He's not?
I don't think so.
Oh, absolutely. He worked his way up through the ranks. He was a senator, became the chancellor. Started the Clone Wars in order to become emperor. I mean,
but was he really being patient? I mean, he was always on the move. He was always working towards the next step.
Sure. But it doesn't mean he's not.
He wasn't outwardly just trying to kill everybody, but each thing he was doing was to achieve his goal. I don't feel like sitting and wait for 40 years or whatever to have someone show up. I don't think that would be.
But what might look like he's lying in wait, he could be manipulating things to his own end.
Right. So yeah, if there's a connection there to where he is actually playing an active role in what's gone on to this point.
Right. And all of that isn't revealed to us until, the last act or something.
Right. It'd be interesting.
It'd be interesting, that's for sure.
Anyway, either way, just the Emperor's presence at all, whether it be even those, in Battlefront and in the comics, you've seen these, what were they called? Sentinel droids?
Oh, right, yes.
That the Emperor used to communicate after his death.
Yep.
It could even be something like that.
Yeah.
I think that would be a little less impactful.
It would. It would.
But I think him being part of the grand plan here was, whether it be with those droids or his lingering presence or even him in the flesh, all of those are still compelling.
Right. I gotta say, the laugh itself, it is not consistent with those Sentinel droids, because those Sentinel droids were, they were interactive, two-way interactive, but, basically there to be instructional for whoever they're interacting with. So, there was not the, that laugh goes right along with what we see in Return of the Jedi Emperor. The laugh, good.
Yeah, which Ian McDiarmid did say on the Star Wars show stage when he was out there that this was not a new recording.
Oh, really?
This laugh was lifted from somewhere.
Ah, okay.
So most likely from Return of the Jedi.
That makes sense then. Okay. So this whole thing might be misdirection altogether.
I don't think it's a misdirection. I think that he'll play some part.
Yeah.
Because I don't anticipate that J.J. Abrams comes out and says, when someone asks, how long did you know that the Emperor was going to be a part of this? And him say from the beginning, I don't think he was like, oh yeah, when we do episode 9, we're going to use this little misdirect.
Right.
I don't foresee that. I think this is he will play a part in the story, major or minor.
Right.
But he will play a part in the story. But yeah, I mean, we see a bunch of other stuff here. We see gotta talk about this. Lando.
Ah, yes.
Back at the helm.
Oh. You can tell he's just loving flying the Falcon.
Yeah. Love that ship.
Heck yeah.
I mean, and he's got Chewie in the co-pilot seat.
Yep.
So that's a cool scene. Really happy to see Lando back. It's a little late for my taste.
Right.
Would have liked to seen him sooner, but important and refreshing nonetheless.
Yes.
And then, so let's talk about the scene with Rey and Leia.
Ah, yeah.
And the medal.
Right. So this is the medal from Yavin.
Right.
So we don't know whose medal this is.
Yeah, it could be Luke's, could be Han's.
Right.
Chewie got stiffed.
I'm going with Hans.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Han's. And I got the craziest idea when I saw this for the first time.
Okay.
You see the medal, right?
Yeah.
And you see Rey hugging Leia
Right.
with a tear rolling down Rey's cheek with this like look of like she doesn't know how to react.
Yeah.
Like the look on her face.
Right.
I mean, this is a leap, but not that much of a leap. Did Rey just find out that Han's her dad and Kylo's her brother?
My guess is probably. I'm hoping. According to JJ, we do find out more information about this. That's kind of what I'm hoping. I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, I'm just taking the pieces that are there.
Right. Exactly.
And I'm like, the significance of the medal. What would be the significance of the medal here?
I mean, it
at
can't
this
just
point
be
in the story.
Can't just be Leia being nostalgic, right? I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
None.
So there's got to be something to it, right? This is the conversation where, yes, your father wasn't just a smuggler and a scoundrel. He did this big thing, or he was involved in this big thing. And this is what he got for it. That's what I'm seeing.
I mean, once again, pure speculation.
Absolutely, but
Like, and we are prone to going off the deep end. We
yeah, but I don't know. I'm liking this.
Well, I mean, and that, all that harkens back to why would they be working together? And I mean, we haven't even got to this part yet. I mean, well, one, I will say, like, you see these other action sequences with Poe and Finn, and I really like that. It seems like this core group that we were introduced to in the beginning,
Right.
is going to see a lot of screen time. And
Yes.
going to see a lot of screen time together.
Yes. Yeah, which we've been told as well. So that is really encouraging. I think is going to it's going to make for, I don't know, just it's going to be a good movie no matter what. I know that, but I think it has potential to I don't know, take us somewhere unexpected.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But So the other thing I said we haven't even touched on yet,
Yes.
the title.
Ah, yes.
So the title, Rise of Skywalker.
So many ways this can be taken. That's
Well, let's talk about the most common and the favorite route taken so far
right.
that I've seen, which is that while it is the end of the Skywalker saga being the Skywalker family, it is the beginning of a new order that Skywalker will be the title that replaces Jedi.
Right.
What do you think of that?
Well, definite possibility.
I would agree. I think that's one. It is a logical route. You know, it's very common for things to be named after these legends, right?
Sure.
And yeah, it's a cool name.
Yeah, there's no doubt. This is the nostalgic old guy in me, I guess. I still like Jedi, you know? So, I don't know. I'm still putting too much stock, I guess, into what else it could be.
Right.
You know, I mean, the literal rise, right, of Luke Skywalker, right? So there's that option, right? This is the whole, you know, Luke is Jesus moment, okay?
Right.
Or we do find out that Rey is a Skywalker, and this is her ascension to full Jedi status, or more, right?
Right.
Or it could have something to do with Ben. I don't know. I'm just there's something about the Force user title change to me that kind of, and I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way, but I think there's enough concern maybe about the, you know, casual moviegoers being like what? You know, I don't know. I could be totally wrong about that, but you know, I mean, I guess those are my thoughts. How about you?
Well, I'm kind of in the same boat you are. Even though I kind of like that idea a little bit. Just because of the emphasis on the failures of that Jedi way, right?
Right.
And not saying that this is going to differ from the Jedi. Like there's a lot of speculation that this is going to be the new order. It'll be like a gray Jedi. Blah blah blah. Like,
right.
People really want this whole gray Jedi thing.
Well,
I mean, they really want it.
Everyone wants to be a good Force user, but every now and then be able to dabble in the dark side, right?
Right. But my thing for this is, and I understand he's not involved anymore, but George Lucas has pretty much debunked this as what makes the Force balanced.
Right.
So to him, the light side is, you know,
balance.
the balance.
Yes.
So I don't know, the gray Jedi idea. I don't know if I'm on board, but the idea of changing it up and separating yourself from the failures of the Jedi.
Yeah.
You know, a fresh start.
Yeah. I could see that. Yeah.
And that fresh start being centered around the ideals of Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. Now that I like. I mean, yes. So this is going to be maybe going back to, I don't know. When I was a little kid, I thought anybody could be a Jedi, right? You know, you didn't have to be gifted with so many midichlorians or anything. And maybe this rolls back around to that kind of way of thinking, you know? And this, what would you call it? Not Jedi, but Skywalker title. I guess the new way of thinking would be for, you know, to be at peace, you know, and not involved with governments and things like that. Just kind of, I don't know, exist on that higher level. I don't know.
Kind of the Force comes first.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I dig it.
I don't know. It's yeah. When you get into that, you know, that what do you call it? I don't even know what to call it. That whole idea of the Skywalkers, right? And I'm not talking Anakin, Luke, but those Force users. It's hard to even, for me, comprehend where they could go with that. So,
Right.
Just because, you know, we've got 40 years of what's been established already that we're going to have to get beyond. So, which I'm ready to do, but my brain ain't doing it right now.
Right. Right. Well, I know this. We are going to have plenty of time to take a moment, examine this trailer, think more about it, and come up with even crazier ideas, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
But I think we should probably move on to something else. What do you say?
All right.
Have something to add to the conversation? Or you just want to let us know how we're doing? Email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best place to get in on the action. But if social media is a little more to your liking, @TheWarsandMore on Twitter is always a good place to interact with us. And we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/TheWarsandMore. And of course, your portal to this and everything else, The Wars and More, is thewarsandmore.com. So yeah, episode 9 we'll definitely get back to in the coming weeks. We're going to have more and more discussions about that. There's so much there. Even in how short that is.
Oh, yeah.
It definitely sparked a lot. And everybody's minds are turning, you know?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, all right, so we're going to move on to the panel that I wasn't going to talk about. So
Yes.
I guess I'll work around here, right? Okay, so I'm not talking about the panel that I was at, right? I'm talking about the footage that I've seen online.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen it.
So, like I said, I wasn't going to talk about this because, you know, they asked us not to.
Right.
And, you know, when I get asked something like that, I tend to go along, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But, yeah, it's online. It's out there. Everybody's talking about it. So we might as well join the conversation at this point. There's no stopping the machine now. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, all right, this footage that we got to see, and we'll talk about the panel too and whatnot. But so first take, what do you think? I mean, this is something that we've had just some stills from Jon Favreau.
Yeah.
And now we've got a look at some footage.
This is amazing. I was looking forward to this before, and now I can't wait to see this thing. So this taste that we've gotten so far, it's it blew me away. I mean, that's pretty much where I'm at.
Oh yeah, it's where I'm at too. I mean, when I was sitting there watching this footage, I'm just like, wow, like you can tell that this is made for a TV show.
Yeah.
Okay. It does lack some of the flair of, say, the episode 9 trailer.
Okay.
But I think that also has something to do with the time period. It's a little rougher time period.
Yeah.
You know, you're in a completely lawless state here, kind of like it's a really OT looking, you know, and even beyond the war torn look of the OT. This is even more so, you know, war fatigued.
Right. So, yeah, we're pretty much talking about an area that, you know, didn't have a whole lot during the good times of the Republic or the Empire.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say we're talking about Tatooine here.
Yeah, I would have to say yes. So, you know, so with no real structured government and basically gangsters, you know, ruling the day, you know, people who don't, you know, who are the have-nots really have nothing.
Yeah.
That's go ahead.
That brings up something for me. Like the opening shot
Yeah.
of this thing.
Uh-huh.
You see a Kowakian monkey lizard on a spit.
Yep.
And there's been some pushback to this.
Yeah, there has.
I mean, I was like, really? This is what you got out of this? Like, and I urge everybody to understand, Tatooine was already bad off.
Yes.
And now you've had this war, and now everything's thrust into, like I said, lawlessness and turmoil because the New Republic doesn't have a foothold yet.
Right.
So you said the have-nots really have not now?
Yeah, they have nothing.
You're going to eat what you can get. Because, I mean, you look at a Kowakian monkey lizard, that's not exactly like, you don't look at that and go, yeah, I'm going to get a good meal out of that.
Right, exactly.
You know,
It's yeah.
if you're eating that, you're hungry.
Yeah, you're hungry, for sure.
So that's the way I look at that. That is to kind of show the desperation of the times.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say this, though, right? I mean, at some point or another, hasn't there been a time when we all just wanted to, like, you know, stab Salacious Crumb and put him on a stick? Anyway.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, I kid. But, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you get another nod to what the times are like while the Mandalorian is talking to Grief.
Yeah.
And he says, you know, what's the highest paying one? He's like, well, 5,000. He's like, well, that doesn't even really cover fuel these days.
Yeah.
And he's saying these days because these days aren't good days.
Yeah. They've seen better days. Yeah. So that's an excellent point there too. So, I mean, it's obvious, at least from the poorly shot footage that I've seen online. When it comes to everyone around on the scene, the Mandalorian looks like he's doing pretty well in comparison, right? And
yeah, he's got some skills that kind of suit the times.
right. But he's also bringing up, that like that won't cover the fuel. That's like it's hard to get a hold of resources like that. So
Yeah, and it's like, I'm not going to do this job for free. You
right,
know?
exactly.
Oh, you're going to pay for my gas? Ooh, thank you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, it just looks so good. I don't even know where to go here. It's crazy because it's a lot to take in.
Yep.
I mean, all these characters. I mean, we see so many aliens and like familiar aliens, and that's a lot why we ground this in Tatooine.
Right.
Because we see the Kowakian monkey lizard, we see Jawas,
Yep.
we see tons of things that say, "Hey, this is Tatooine."
Totally.
A whole kind of underground scene, gangsters, things like that. That's what passes for business there,
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what it is. So the part, I really liked was, and I think probably most people, I like seeing this, like, I guess you'd call it an Imperial remnant, almost having to work out of the shadows, right?
Yes.
So, I don't know. That's kind of cool, in my opinion. I just, and somehow, some way, looking to try and resurrect what they once had. I don't know. It's interesting to see how that angle plays out.
Yeah, I think you said to me off mic, it's kind of interesting to see stormtroopers turned into guns for hire.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it looked like to me. I mean,
yeah, I got the same feel. Like,
yeah, you were an Imperial stormtrooper. You have this armor, you have this, blaster, you have these skills. Well, if the Empire isn't taking care of you anymore,
Yeah, there's a scene here where the Mandalorian, draws his weapon because someone barges in, right?
Right.
And one of these stormtroopers tells him, "We outnumber you 4-1."
Right.
It's like, I like those odds. And
Yeah.
I'm like, of course, with the way stormtroopers shoot, I like those odds too.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Although those were pretty tight quarters they were in. I think those stormtroopers could get a good shot off.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like, I think of the Family Guy, right? Like, you ever hit anything with these things?
Right.
I hit a bird once.
Yeah.
So, it's just. So, I want to talk about the stormtroopers for a second too, because in the panel that was streamed online,
Yes.
Dave Filoni talked about this. They needed more, Dave Filoni
yeah.
and Jon Favreau
Yeah.
talked about how they needed more stormtroopers for a scene, and they were like, "Well, how are we going to come up with this?" And Dave's like, "Well, I know some stormtroopers."
Yeah.
And they actually contacted the 501st
Yes.
to get some stormtroopers down there. They didn't tell them why,
Right.
but that, man, talk about the impact of Star Wars fandom.
Exactly.
And Dave talked about how, one, their costume quality. A lot of times their costume quality being better than what you actually see on screen.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is, how does that work even? But that's awesome. I mean, that's just a testament to the fans and their dedication to their devotion to these characters and what the 501st is all about. So,
well, I know you've had some interactions with members of the 501st.
yep.
In your time, and you know, one, their costumes are fantastic.
Yes.
I mean, you don't look at a 501st Stormtrooper and say, well, this doesn't look quite right.
Yeah, this is wrong. Yeah.
They look damn good. And not only do they look good, they play the part good.
Absolutely.
Their dedication to walking, talking, moving, I mean, everything, like a stormtrooper.
They even brought that up, because Jon Favreau, he said he was thinking, okay, yeah, we have these people who have the costumes, but do they know how to act in them? Do they know how to hold the blaster? And he said, which he said he found out something we all know, right? That costume goes on, they are in character, and it's like,
and they're good at it.
Exactly.
I mean, like if you've ever, like just the experience of getting a photograph with some 501st Stormtroopers, I think my best example of this and them being in character was when I was at Star Wars Weekends.
Oh, yeah.
And, the way they like move the crowd that's coming in to take photos, they'd be like, you over here, and their whole demeanor and action and the way they talked about it is just awesome. They talk in that military speak, like you ask them, hey, can I get a photo? They're affirmative,
yes.
And coming through that speaker, they sound like a damn stormtrooper.
Exactly.
I mean, you don't go get a photo with them and feel like you didn't just get a photo with a stormtrooper.
Right.
You feel like you got they're good. And I am so happy for them because what the 501st means to fandom and everything they do and all the good work they do, this was well deserved.
Absolutely.
And I couldn't be happier for the organization as a whole for now having this accolade of having done this.
Yeah.
As well as the individuals who got to go down there and do this.
Absolutely.
And have the experience of being in a Star Wars film.
It's
all of our dreams, right?
Absolutely. I could see this happening more often now, since it went so well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, for sure. They seem to have made a really good impression.
Right.
And I'm looking forward to seeing their performances.
Oh, yeah, so am I. The thing I thought that was really hilarious that Dave said was, all these Star Wars fans are always like looking for something screen used.
Yeah.
All these guys' Stormtrooper costumes are now all screen used.
Yeah. Oh, man. Like, how that's got to feel.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and yeah, it's just, that's so wild. And I feel like that is so Dave Filoni.
Totally.
I mean, you see the way Dave Filoni interacts with fandom, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's a marvel in its own, right? Because he is so gracious of fandom.
Yep.
He appreciates fandom. He loves everything that we do as a fandom.
Yeah.
And this idea he had is a confirmation of all that, of what he thinks of fandom as a whole. And what he thinks of the 501st and what they do.
Right.
So there are definitely not more deserving people out there of getting this opportunity.
Absolutely.
So, go ahead.
No, I just said absolutely. I agree with you.
Sound like you were going to continue. So. Yeah, so great. That was a really fun moment in that panel, and really had me grinning ear to ear.
Oh yeah,
because I think of all the interactions I've had with members of the 501st over the years, and I have never had a bad one.
Exactly.
You always walk away going, "Wow, Star Wars fans are great."
Yep.
Their dedication, their love, their reverence, it's a marvel. And yeah, just happy for them.
Right on.
And a tad bit jealous.
Yeah, totally jealous.
I want to be in Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, it's so cool. So let's talk about, we talked about Grief, which is, that's Carl Weathers.
Right.
Man, how cool was he looking?
Awesome.
I mean, he fit right in, did he?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, jeez. I'll tell you what, this was fun at the panel, too. Like, when he comes out and everybody starts chanting Apollo.
Oh, right.
He's like, I want you. I want you. Oh, this is great. This couldn't go any better. It's just like what's going on in my mind. And seeing his reaction. So he's been a part of big franchises before.
Right.
And seeing his reaction to Star Wars fandom. And all the good things he had to say, and just his admiration of all the work and dedication that goes into what so many fans do,
right,
was just cool.
It seems to be the standard, isn't it? I mean, someone new comes on board Star Wars, and what they are blown away by is fandom. Which,
right, he even said he was coming into that panel, he didn't expect all of this.
Right.
He didn't expect to walk out into an arena full of people.
Exactly. Yeah. Arena full, you think about that, right? There's an arena full of people, to hear them talk about a show that they can't really talk about because the first episode hasn't aired yet. It's just really, it's almost absurd when you think about it.
Yeah.
But that's us.
Like, so he's talking about that arena. I was on the streaming stage.
Yep.
So I was in the Galaxy stage for this.
Okay.
And this was a room full of people.
Right.
And the Twin Sun stage downstairs was another room full of people.
Right.
And that's not even counting all the people watching online. Like, it is a Star Wars celebration. There is definitely nothing like this.
Right.
And I want to highlight the streaming. So the live streaming of these panels and things like that.
Yep.
No other con does this.
Right.
I mean, especially not in the scale of Star Wars Celebration. You see tons of footage and things like that on YouTube.
Yep.
A lot of it comes from like cell phone video.
Exactly.
Or from news outlets.
Right.
But this comes from Star Wars proper.
Yep.
And it's getting bigger and bigger every year, and it's just I wonder in upcoming years how easy it's going to be for me to get a ticket.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess I'm just going to live it up while I can. Because this year, I mean, with the exception of Monday,
right,
they sold out pretty quick this year compared to prior years.
Exactly. Monday was kind of like that day that everyone was a little not sure what was going to be happening, right? I mean,
yeah, and you know, when I went into Monday and I was heading to the show so I could get to my panel and all that. You know, I get into the episode 1 panel and I'm in Wintrust Arena there, and I'm like, wow. You know, for all the talk about them still having tickets, there are a lot of freaking people here.
right.
That arena was packed. I mean, packed.
Nice.
And then, you know, I get out of there, head to the show floor, and it's like, well, there's no fewer people here today than there were other days. That's for sure. You know, and it's so nuts. Like, yeah, I thought Monday was going to be an easier day. Yeah, it was not. Still busy. So Gina Carano.
Oh yeah.
So when they first put the still image up of her character, I was like she kind of has that bounty hunter looking edge, right?
Right.
Like, it is right up there with what we've seen in the past. You know, look for, you know, someone in that type of profession.
Yep.
And then you see a scene with her in The Mandalorian, and she's kind of kicking his ass a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Which, let's be real here, is Gina Carano. She's an MMA fighter. She could probably beat his ass.
Yeah, there's no probably about it. I think that's a for sure thing there.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, man, that character looks cool. This character looks cool. You know, and then you got Pedro Pascal out there, and he's talking, and man, to see the joy on his face when he talked about, like, the casting procedure.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, oh, so what character you want me to play, this and that? And he's like, well, you're the Mandalorian. And he just drops his head on the desk like,
yeah. It's cool to hear how all these all these actors have really taken to these characters. Mm-hmm. I mean, even to the point where was Jon Favreau had to leave set to go work on some other things, and he comes back, and here's all of his stars doing stunts and you know, doing things that
you don't want your stars doing
necessarily be doing, right? You know, we have other people for that part of the job, you know, that
he's like, what are you doing? You can't do that. These are our stars.
Exactly. But I just think it's awesome that they have embraced these characters to the point where they want to be doing that stuff. So
yeah.
That's cool.
You know, and he talked about, like, everybody who was doing their own stunts, and it was every single one of them.
Yeah.
It was Gina Carano, Carl Weathers, Pedro Pascal. They all want to do their own stunts.
Yep.
And that sounds like a crew that's having fun.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, go ahead and fling me 20 feet up in the air.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good time.
Totally.
You know, so what if we got to delay production by 3 months if I get hurt? You know? But yeah, I'll tell you what, man. Is the Carl Weathers when they announced him, I gotta say, his now seeing him in his role a little bit and seeing him interact at Celebration, it is every bit of and more of what I was hoping to see.
Right on.
Because I'm just like, yeah, Carl is a cool dude, you know, like I just like him.
Yep.
I've liked him in everything he's done.
Absolutely.
You know, even some of the movies he's done are not so great.
Right.
But it wasn't because of him.
Exactly.
So excited to see that look at it, and one another thing, like I said, Pedro Pascal, like, what a fun guy.
Yeah.
You know, he jumped in at one point like, okay, let me tell it.
Yeah. Let me. That's where, Dave gets to chime in and set him straight a little.
He chimes in like, "Really? You're going there?"
Yeah.
Like one of those. You're really flirting with the line here, buddy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but I feel like he was just caught up in everything that's going on.
Oh yeah.
You're in front of an arena full of people. He's like, I want to talk.
Right.
So I didn't know much about him prior to this.
Right.
I don't watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah, me neither. That's the big thing, right? So
Yeah.
I'll have to get caught up on that or something.
Well, I'm definitely interested in him now. Like,
Yeah.
I want to see more of his stuff because I think he was in Narcos, right?
Yes.
Which everybody says that's a good show. I should check that out.
That's what I've heard too.
He's in that new movie we were talking about a couple weeks ago, right?
Right. Triple Frontier.
Triple Frontier. So that's something I'll have to check out. I definitely interested in seeing more of him because, wow, that guy was fun.
Well, I'll tell you what. Overall, this cast and crew have got me interested in seeing The Mandalorian. So, this is, I would say, The Mandalorian has bumped up a couple spots in my to-do list here, or to-watch list. You know, I always wanted to see it since I heard about it, but I am even more excited than ever now.
Yeah, so I feel the same way because, I was going into Celebration here, and I'm sure you were too, saying like, episode 9.
Right.
We're focused on episode 9 here. That's the crown jewel.
Yes.
At this point.
Yes.
Right now it's weird to say I'm a little more excited about The Mandalorian than I am episode 2. Now, a lot of that has to deal with I'm going to see The Mandalorian before episode 9.
Right.
So that does bump it up a few notches. And I don't know if you saw this or whatnot. So you see they're not going to release this all at once?
That's what I've heard. Yes.
So they're going to release it weekly.
Which is kind of cool. It kind of flies in the face of how streaming television has gone lately.
Yeah, it's kind of the complete opposite, right? Like,
yeah.
I like that. It'll give me, it'll let me do what I like doing, which is watch an episode, watch it again. Okay, the next one's about to come out. I'll watch it a third time.
Right.
So really absorb each episode.
And that's the key, I think. You're going to have a chance to digest it before moving into the next thing. It's sometimes when you binge watch a show, I almost feel like, the little kid on Christmas when it's like, tear open a present, not even think about what you got in front of you, and then you next one, tear it open, right?
Yeah.
So
that's a good analogy for that.
Yeah. So I think it's going to, really, when you think about it, I just now thought about this. It just kind of goes back to what Bob Iger was saying a while back, in regards to the release of Solo and how it was so close to Last Jedi and everything. This might play right into their plan of kind of like slowing their roll on releasing stuff. So, I think it's going to be a good move.
Yeah, I mean, they said that about the feature films as well, right? So they said they're kind of going to take a break.
Yeah.
After episode 9.
Right. Which
you're going to have a little gap and
with as much other Star Wars as we're going to have 12 episodes of the Clone Wars, 10 episodes of The Mandalorian. Think about that. We're probably looking at 22 hours worth of Star Wars right there alone.
Well, and you're talking before you even see another feature film, you're going to see the Cassian series.
Yeah.
I mean, there's you're not lacking content.
That's for sure.
So, yeah, I think slowing it down a little bit. Let us do what we do. I think that has been one of the I don't want to say sticking points, but I feel like that's something that's been a little lost in this whole mad dash to get as much out as possible.
Right.
Is we are rewatch fiends.
Yeah.
We like to rewatch these movies and things like that, but as of right now, I haven't had a lot of time for that.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, how many rewatches of, say, Solo or The Force Awakens, or even how many rewatches of The Empire Strikes Back have you gotten in since all the new Star Wars has really gotten going?
Not as many as I used to get, that's for sure.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That's kind of like what we do, right?
Yeah, absolutely it is.
So maybe taking a step back and slowing it down is a good move.
Yep, I'm on board.
So let's talk about, also in this Mandalorian panel, they kind of showed a little behind the scenes look at things.
Right?
Especially they kind of focused on the Razor Crest, the ship.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And they kind of showed they built this practical model, and they were doing these flyby shots, right?
Yep.
How cool was that? Like,
that was really cool. That stuff that reminded me of, took me back to like the making of Star Wars. It was like seeing how things are done like that was just, wow, that was cool.
Yeah, and sometimes anymore you wonder if them just doing it CGI would just it would probably just be cheaper, right?
Yeah, a lot of times. I mean,
as opposed to dedicating all these man hours to building the model, setting up the rigs, doing umpteen million shots, right?
Right.
So you get just that perfect shot.
Yeah, or even doing multiple shots to combine them into one shot, you know.
Right.
Which is, you know, it's astounding what they do. Their, quote unquote movie magic is amazing for sure.
So another thing that garnered a huge reaction, right, is this IG-88 looking droid.
Oh yeah.
Just whooping.
I gotta say, from this little bit that we got to see, I love the way it moved.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like a ratcheting type jerky movement to it, which I thought was cool.
Right. So you got that ratcheting, like jerky movement, but it's also very precise.
Precise and fast. So yeah.
So
very cool.
Gonna add to that IG-88 legend a little bit, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Whether it's IG-88 or another, another one of these droids that were, pretty much mass produced, right?
Right.
But you never know. It could be IG-88.
Right.
How cool would that be?
It would be awesome.
So yeah, they're killing it there. So definitely super stoked. And like I said, it kind of jumped the list for me. Before Celebration, I was kind of like, yeah, of course I want to see it. It's Star Wars, right?
Right.
You see this trailer, or not really trailer. You see this first look at footage. You see this behind the scenes sizzle reel, and yeah, I'm in.
Oh yeah,
in a big way.
In a big way, for sure.
And not only that, so they kind of announced the pricing and things like that for Disney Plus as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And the release date, so we're going to get to see this stuff in November.
Yep.
And wow, the price point is astonishing to me. it is relatively inexpensive.
Yeah. When you're comparing to other streaming services, yeah, it's, can be almost like half price.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking what, like a year for like $70?
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
Yeah, that's excellent.
With all the content that's going to be on there. Not that a lot of that stuff, not that I need access to it digitally, but
yeah, but still, hey, we talked about it before. It's so much easier just to pull it up, off a menu as opposed to walk up to your Blu-ray player.
Right. So, all right, we got so much more left to talk about. There is, tons more things that went on. We got the Clone Wars. There's just, we got more episode 9 stuff to talk about. We barely scratched the surface of everything we thought about watching that trailer. Mandalorian 2.
Oh yeah.
Tons more than what we've already touched on, just because it's got your minds racing, right?
Totally.
It definitely did a good job with all that. And then, of course, we got more stuff about my trip to Celebration. We barely scratched the surface on that. But there's plenty of time. We'll definitely get to it in the coming weeks. If you have anything to add, if you were at Celebration, you have a story to share, your experiences, whatever, you can always email us, show@thewordsandmore.com. That's the best way to get a hold of us. We're also on social media, though. We're on Twitter, @thewordsandmore on Twitter, facebook.com/thewordsandmore. You can find all of that and all the ways to find the show over at thewordsandmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug? I mean, to say final thoughts is crazy because there's tons still to talk about.
I was just going to say, I think the final thought is our thoughts are just getting started. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. So, all right. We'll talk next week.